Hi everybody, I'm Hari Bhagirat, Chief Creative Officer of KHK Sports, and I'm here with Charu Sharma, and he is here for Coca-Cola Bahrain Premier League 2018. And what an amazing person we have here. So, hi Charu, how was your trip to Bahrain and what do you feel about Bahrain?
Well, thank you, Hari. Thank you for having me. It's always wonderful to be back in Bahrain. I was here many years ago. I remember the first time in 1999. When I think I came with my good friend Sanjay Manjrekar and Syed Kirmani, who of course I still meet in Bangalore where I live. But my visits here have been very warm, very memorable. And I've always enjoyed the fact that this is a small place, but it's very hospitable, very warm. I met some wonderful friends here and they've stayed in touch with me. And I look forward to the opportunity of coming back to Bahrain time and again. So I'm really glad to be here. But I must tell you one thing, Hari, just as a sort of a side light. I was wearing a particular shirt on the flight into Bahrain. And guess what? I suddenly realized, a coincidence, that I bought that shirt here back in 1999 and I still wear it and I still wear it very fondly. I must have worn it 1,000 times. But just a little indication of how much I remember and love Bahrain.
That's really amazing to know. So, tell me, there are so many nice things about Bahrain. Tell me one thing that is so close to your heart about Bahrain.
Well, now you're making life difficult for me because it's very difficult to choose. However, I will say that Bahrain has, and I'm generalizing because I don't want to choose something specific. But I think the atmosphere in Bahrain is fabulous. Close to the sea, or there's lots of water, there's a certain sense of warmth here. Maybe because it's a small place, I don't know. It's a big city right here, but it still gives you a feeling that it's not too big and that you can get around anywhere and enjoy yourself. So I think once again it's the closeness to the sea and the warmth of the people.
That is so amazing. So I need to ask you one question that is so close to your heart. What does cricket means to you?
Well, everything. But I must confess, even as I talk about cricket being one of my favorite sports, or perhaps the favorite sport, I must also remind everybody that I'm very multi-sport. I've played many sports fairly competitively. I love just about every sport. I watch every sport, and I like talking about every sport as well. So, but within all of that, there's no denying the fact that if you live in our part of the world, India particularly, or South Asia, or other parts of the world, cricket is just so much more. I don't want to use the usual cliche about religion, but the fact is that it has stayed for very long. It's enjoyed a very long run. It's incredibly popular, and if you become a part of it in any which way, then I think there's a sense of belonging to a very large community. It's not a small community. Other games have small communities. For instance, I play golf, very small community, happy community. But when you belong to the cricket community, in many ways you belong to the whole nation. And I think that's the best part of the game. Also, I keep telling everybody wherever I go that cricket, and I suppose a few other sports, but cricket particularly since you ask, it's not just a contest between a bat and ball. It's not just a game that you need to win or that you need to perform well within your skill level. But to me, it means a lot more. And I know I might sound old-fashioned here, but I think cricket has a lot to do with a way of life. Just the fairness of it all, the spirit of the game, the traditions and heritage that cricket enjoys. Very few other sports have that width, that body of work. I think cricket does. So much has been written about it, so many wonderful stories through the years, so many terrific performances. And for all of us, when you put all of that together, I think it once again gives you a very warm feeling of belonging. And that's what cricket means to me.
That was so eloquent, and I really love the way you articulated that thought. And there is one aspect that is so particular about you, that is sports commentary. Everyone says that it's just commentary, but commentary is an art. It adds that flavor to that sport. Is it pressurizing for you to be in that particular point?
That's a very interesting question. Because on one hand, I would like to say that commentary is one of the most easy things to do or to be a part of. Because, if you love the sport that you're talking about or any topic that you're talking about, and you know the language that you're speaking in reasonably well, which is a key, mind you, then it just sort of seems to flow. So if you're enjoying the sport, then you enjoy talking about it. You mentioned, is it an art, or did you say it's an art? I hesitate once again because to some people, to me, and I confess, and it may not sound good, but it comes so easily that it's not really a problem or a worry, because you love what you're talking about, you love the game, you've played it before. And it's just a question of knowing, I suppose, through experience, how much to say, when to say, what to say. Is that an art? I suppose so. But I think the enjoyment of watching the game has to come through. And as they say very famously in the world of commentary, that if you're not adding to the picture, especially television commentary, you know, there's a big difference between radio commentary and television commentary, because on radio, you have to really explain everything to everybody because nobody can see anything. But on television, the big difference is people can see. It's a visual medium. So they're seeing everything anyway. And you don't have to really describe what's going on because people are seeing it. So a lot of people make the mistake of being radio commentators on television, which is over talking, over describing. Please, people can see it. So I think the art is really in television commentary, where you have to sort of come in and infuse a little something which is in addition to the picture. Maybe a little story, maybe just a way with words, maybe a sense of humor, and of course the quality of your voice and many other things. But there's a very fine line between saying just enough and saying too much, which becomes irritating on television. So I must also quickly add that perhaps you asked me too, how does one feel when one's commentating on a sport? To begin with, the first few minutes, always some butterflies in the stomach, because you know that's how it should be. Even when you're playing, or if you're commentating or doing anything, or if you're covering something on television, or if you're at any job, the first few minutes, few seconds, I think there's some butterflies in the stomach, because you know that you're a part of a very exciting event, and you know that you want to add to the picture and make sure the people who are watching are benefited with your presence or with your voice. So I think it's nice to put a little bit of pressure on yourself to begin with, and then of course it flows. It's like water in a river. To begin with, it might disrupt a bit, and then it just flows smoothly, and then you enjoy being there, and you hope that people who are listening to you also enjoy being there.
That was so eloquent and articulated extremely well. And
Thank you.
for a person with this much of knowledge, I want your take on the growth and development of cricket in Bahrain. You might have witnessed, like, within a few short years, Bahrain had developed the sport of mixed martial arts and took it to a global level. So what do you think about the growth of cricket in Bahrain?
Well, you mentioned two different sports. One, of course, is martial arts, for instance. Now, to a large extent, that's an individual sport. And people are individually responsible for how much you train, how well you do, how well you compete, and how much you succeed. Cricket, of course, is a very different kind of beast, because you know you have to have many people, a lot of facility, infrastructure, outdoors. It's not an all-weather sport, therefore, because you can only play when there's fair weather. You can't play in rain when it's too hot. So it's a very different kind of beast. Also, you require so many more people. I mean, for any match, you need at least about 30 people, 15 aside. Of course, the first time I came to Bahrain, it was for a sixes tournament, so you need less people. But I think the limiting factor is the creation of facilities, because cricket, whether you like it or not, sadly, requires very high level of facility. You may say that you can learn in the net somewhere, or you can create a small indoor facility, but ultimately you have to compete on the global level outdoors, and under conditions that are similar to conditions around the world. So preparing turf pitches, looking after turf pitches, not easy at all. You can play a lot of, should we say, elementary cricket anywhere, in a small parking lot or behind your home or wherever people play in the gullies of the world. But to succeed, you really need much better conditions and infrastructure. So to my mind, Bahrain now has a lot more than it did in the past, but it may need a lot more still to reach global levels. And do cricket lovers in Bahrain have the enthusiasm and the energy, and also, of course, commercially speaking, the funds to create more facilities? Because more the facilities in schools, elsewhere, in clubs, more cricketers come. The base of the pyramid widens, and the minute more people are playing, you'll obviously get a much better standard. So it's a question of getting more people playing on more playing surfaces. It's a complex problem, not easy, but I think Bahrain's done well so far. Much more needs to be done.
What is your advice for emerging cricketers in Bahrain?
Hari, again, that's a good question. Because when people start playing, it's very important to examine, why are you playing something? Are you playing just to get a little bit of exercise? Are you playing because of some entertainment? Are you playing because you had nothing else to play? Are you playing because your parents are forcing you to play? There are so many reasons why people play. However, when you want to go to a higher level, and I know you're talking about professional level as well, you have to be very aware of your own goals. And a lot of youngsters I see over time in India, anywhere in the world, are a little confused about their goals. Where do they really want to reach with their play? What level do they really want to reach? Everybody says, of course, I'd like to play for my country. Well, guess what? Only on an average about 15-20 people get to that point. So if there are millions playing as they are in India, you can imagine how difficult it is. In Bahrain, it may be a little easier to reach the national level, but is that what you want? Do you not want to be one of the better cricketers in the world? Or are you happy with just reaching the national team of Bahrain? So where are you setting your goals is very important. And even before that, I tell a lot of youngsters, you know, skill is very important, without question. If you want to be a bowler, a spinner, fast bowler, medium pacer, you want to be an all-rounder or just a batsman, top order, you know, middle order, all that's fine, because skill can be taught, it can be learned. And lots of coaches, I'm sure you get other coaches here in Bahrain as well. You can invite them from other parts of the world, or the children can go to other parts of the world and learn, as people do. For instance, if you're playing tennis in India, you have to go out to other countries, to maybe Europe or to the US, to pick up your standards. Similarly, people in Bahrain who are really keen youngsters may need to go elsewhere to learn how to play better. But before all of that, and this is the most important thing I can add once again, I tell every parent, get physically to a point where you're able to use those skills well. Because even cricket now, it wasn't perhaps until the 70s or the 80s, cricket was a heavily skill-based game, but athletically speaking, there were many people in the game who were not top-notch athletes, if you know what I mean. Now, athleticism is a very big part of the game. So I tell all the youngsters, you can learn to bat better, bowl better, feel better with time. But you've got to be super fit and athletic. And I find too many youngsters, not criticizing, I find too many youngsters, Hari, who are not fit enough for the game, who are not training hard enough, who are not strong enough, who don't have the stamina and the strength and, you know, all the rest of these wonderful words that make up athleticism. So if you can focus when you're 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 years of age on just becoming stronger, eating better, you know, get a better lifestyle, then by the time you're 13, 14, and when skills kick in, you're better able to utilize those skills and your talent, your inborn talent or whatever you learn. But I find that a lot of people continue to be relatively less fit. And therefore, somewhere along the way, they fall away. And they may say, well, I scored 40 odd and he scored 40 odd, and why is he in the team and not me? Tell you why, because the other boy worked harder. So we are back to the oldest piece of advice in the world, hard work. Physically particularly, and then of course you've got to have something special in you to last all the disappointments. Because in the world of sport, final words, Hari, you know, most people, and this has been said before, so it's not new, most people will lose a lot more than they will win, particularly in the early part of their career. So do you have the perseverance, the diligence to carry on? Because people lose a bit and then they lose interest, saying, well, maybe this is not for me. So you've got to keep at it, learn from your losses, get fitter, get better, and remember the self goals. Where do you really want to reach in the game? Do you want to be one of the best in the world, or are you happy being the best in your school? That's what you need to decide.
Amazing pearls of wisdom. And the Kingdom of Bahrain is striving to inculcate a healthy lifestyle among youth, and trying to teach them and make them believe in themselves. And always Kingdom of Bahrain is focused on holistic development of the youth. So finally, what is your message for Coca-Cola Bahrain Premier League 2018?
So I need to first thank the king, in fact the kingdom, the royal family, for inculcating, as you said, the spirit of better health, because that is step one. And for any nation, you don't have to become a big sporting nation, but if you're a healthy nation, then you're already right on top. So congratulations to that initiative, and I hope it continues for a very long time, through generations. And of course, then congratulations to all the organizers of the Coca-Cola Bahrain Premier League. It has taken a long time coming. I have been involved partially with the history, the story of this league, and I'm really happy that all those who made it happen have finally made it happen, because that's step one. I'm not aware of the standard that we'll see in the Coca-Cola BPL. I hope it'll be of a high level. I know it'll be very competitive because whatever level one plays at, if the other teams are virtually equal in standard, then the best thing that happens, and that's the best part of any league, is that the competition is very hard at whatever standard, but the competition is very hard. So the first thing I'd like to see are hard-fought matches, close matches, and that makes the league very interesting. You never know till the end who's going to win or who's going to come out on top. So I want that close action in the BPL. Secondly, of course, I've got to say that organization's the key. And I keep harping on this, but you permit me to spare a few seconds. The organization of any event, if it's a one-day event, one-hour event, needs to be very professional, well-governed. So let's bring it to the Coca-Cola BPL. My wish is that, and I'm sure it's going to happen, but since you ask, I would like a professionally organized tournament. I'd like to be a part, and I think I'm already a part of it, a well-organized, well-oiled, smooth body that conducts the BPL. So I think everybody playing will appreciate the fact that playing conditions or even the quality of the ball or every other aspect that can bring out the best in an event comes to the BPL. I'm trying not to be harsh or too critical because I know it's the first year, and if there are any mistakes made, so be it. But we all learn from our mistakes and go ahead and ensure that everybody has a fantastic experience. You cannot guarantee the cricket. Just like when you go in and you're batting, you can't guarantee that you're going to get 40 runs or 100. When you're bowling, you can't guarantee that you get a hat trick all the time, but you do your best. Similarly, however the cricket is, or should we say differently, however the cricket is, which you can't guarantee, we need to guarantee smooth conduct of the event. So I'm looking forward to a nice, fabulously conducted Coca-Cola BPL, and hopefully the cricket will be terrific as well. And always, may the best team win. It's a good time for me to thank those who made the Coca-Cola BPL happen, because I know how difficult it is, especially the first time. Not easy at all. So I've got to thank especially His Highness Sheikh Khalid for putting it all together, KHK Sports and Exelon for adding their weight to ensure that the Coca-Cola BPL took off. Because plans are easy to make, it's easy to give ideas, but to actually make it happen on ground, very difficult. I know, believe me, I've organized many leagues. So I congratulate all the people behind the league, and I do wish that they're all happy at the way it goes and that it continues to be a very long-term situation here, institutionalized, so that when we come back here 5 years, 10 years, 50 years later, the BPL is still going on. So thank you once again. And of course, there are many other aspects to it too.